There we go. Okay, now we're recording. So a lot of us get in this habit of holding our downline accountable. But where a lot of us aren't understanding, part of what we need to do as leaders is holding ourselves accountable to that standard, yes, as a leader, but also what about your upline? Because that's a person you are following. Whether consciously or subconsciously, you are following them. Are they on here? I don't know. Some of y'all's are. Most of yours aren't. Okay? And so I want you to understand the people who are you showing up for? Who is showing up for you? And who is being a leader? Okay? And so, must be iPhone. And so I want you guys to understand that. Start looking at who you're looking at for a leader, first and foremost, and stop using the word leader so flippantly, okay? Almost kind of like how little kids use best friend, right? For like literally everybody. Oh my gosh, she's my best friend. Honey, you've known her for 5 seconds, right? And then you have to kind of establish boundaries about what acquaintances are, friends are, best friends are, things like that, right? Same thing with leader. Number one, are you deserving of the title leader? I don't know. Don't answer that in the chat, please. That's more of like an inward question. Are you deserving of the title leader? And is the person you are looking at as your leader deserving of that title too? Not just because they signed you up. And this is something that I'm prefacing the things we are going to be talking about in the 5 levels of leadership. Okay. So some of you, and when I say hold your upline accountable, I don't mean like get on here and be like, where were you? Why weren't you on this Zoom? Right. And start going into like management mode. But maybe you want to reach, if you don't see them on here, maybe reach out to them, be like, girl, where are you at? Man, why aren't you on this Zoom? Right? It's a leadership Zoom. Right? Where are you? Why are you not developing as a leader? Why is this not a priority for you? Okay. That kind of thing. You can go ahead and say that, you cannot, but maybe what I mean by holding them accountable is holding them accountable in your own mind. Who am I looking at? Who am I following? Because if you're just like, if we're using the analogy of all of us are in the woods on this journey, and a lot of people just blindly follow the person who's in front, like they're distracted by like, look at the pretty trees and like, oh, not gonna trip over rocks. They're like looking everywhere else. But if you also aren't holding your upline account, like, or you're the leader, the person who's in front accountable, they could be leading you anywhere. You don't know. Right? And so those are some things that we are going to discuss in the coming weeks with the 5 levels of leadership, not only having you assess who your leaders are, but also having you assess your leadership as well as identifying the levels of leadership for the people that you are developing. So go ahead, put it in your Amazon cart, go to Books A Million, get it on Audible. I don't know what other avenues there are, but I'm sure there are plenty that I'm missing, by John C. Maxwell, Kindle. And so let us, without further ado, really quickly wrap up the last few laws of leadership. All right. So definitely getting your notebooks out for this one. We are going into the last few right here. Okay. So the law of the big MO. Momentum is a leader's best friend. So MO, for people who don't know, is motivating operation. That's what it stands for. What's your MO? Meaning what's driving you, what's motivating you, what's pushing you forward, what's making you show up. Okay. Things like that. So the law of the big MO, momentum is a leader's best friend. So are you enthusiastic and maintain a positive attitude every day for the sake of the team members, right? It doesn't mean you have to be positive Patty all the time, but it means that maintaining positivity and empowerment and uplifting people is like your prime motive, right? Or are you getting in there and complaining? Are you getting in there and dragging down the morale? Are you going in there and people are like, why do I even check this chat? Like, it's just gossip or it's just drama or it's just whatever, okay? Whenever I make a major leadership decision, I consider how that decision impacts the momentum of my team. and I initiate specific actions with the purpose of generating momentum and introducing something new and sometimes even controversial. When they mean controversial, it means it just kind of fights the norm. Or like a little while back, a lot of us kind of in Thrive Army anyway, I know we have mixed teams on here, kind of did that. We did things that were controversial in that, we had some of our own, badges. We started kind of utilizing specific language in our team. We just did things that were they were against the norm. Like they just went against the grain. That's all. That's what they mean by controversial. I don't want people to start like taking that word literally. So the law of the big MO, momentum is the leader's best friend. Knowing your motivating operation, this boils back down to what we talked about with having a mission and having a vision for yourself and your team. And I'm going to go through these rather quickly because I have another thing that I really want to talk about and introduce, again, as it sets the stage for the 5 levels of leadership. So 17 is the law of priorities. I think that one speaks for itself. Leaders understand that activity is not necessarily accomplishment, right? This is why we push IPAs. This is why we push things where you are spending the majority of your time doing things that are income producing or developing you as a person or as a professional. Okay, so we're making sure that you're not, a leader's job is to make sure you're not wasting your time idly on, and this is specific to, our industry, on social media or doing things that just don't serve you. We talk a lot about that, right? We talk a lot about being efficient with your time and knowing what you're doing with it. You set aside time daily, monthly, yearly, whatever, to plan any upcoming and schedule events or activities based on priorities. This is something where, again, this might lead to that conversation I said earlier, where looking at participants, do you see your first 3 uplines? Do you see all 3 of them? Do you only see 1? Do you see 0? Right? Again, maybe the law of priorities is not one they have, right? Maybe they do, and they have done their priorities, and this just isn't one of them right now. Who knows? But I'm just saying, law of priorities, it's based on, you schedule things, you have boundaries. That's what priorities are. Priorities are knowing your time boundaries. And boundaries are so, so, so important. Maintaining them and establishing them, you set the stage as a leader. You tell people what is okay, what is permissible, what is acceptable. As a hockey tournament, right? Yeah, that's different. It's like if they're not on this one, that's okay. But I think we all know that if you were to go in here and look at the participants, you would be like, oh, look, they're not there again. Look at that. Whoa. Right? Like we know, except sometimes they're like, oh my gosh, that's so weird that they're not on. And so law of priorities, if you are a person who struggles to get things done, to manage your time, to do all of your IPAs, if you feel like you're super busy, but you're like, I don't feel like I have much to show for it, or if you easily get caught up with life stuff or whatever and get distracted, you need to work on this law of priorities. Because you cannot be a leader if you do not make your team or your vision or your mission a priority. And your words don't tell people what your priorities are, your actions do. Okay. So you can be like, I love my team. You can pop up in your chat once or twice a day and be like, well, what's everybody doing? Right. But what's that doing? I don't know. What is it doing? So law of priorities is just kind of, are you making the team the priority? Because your actions, what they can see you doing speaks louder than that to an extent. Okay. It's not always words. And, your actions will tell me where your priorities lie, right? Just like they always say, show me your schedule and I'll predict your future, because your priorities shape your future for you. Someone should be able to see them and know exactly what they are. Moving on to law 18 is the law of sacrifice. A leader must give up to go up. Again, a lot of these are self-explanatory. I know making trade-offs is a natural part of leadership and growth. I expect to make sacrifices to become a better leader. I expect to give more than my followers do in order to accomplish the vision. And I will give up my rights in order to reach my potential as a leader. And again, what that means is not getting caught up in that like indignant struggle of like, well, I'm the leader, I shouldn't have to do this. They should have to do some of that too. Or no, I don't, whatever, right? A leader knows that they have to sacrifice. They take the brunt. They go first, right? So you are the most vulnerable to, and I'm using again, like whatever, like soldiers or you're in the woods or whatever. You are in front. You are the most vulnerable to whatever is coming. Okay. So if anyone's going to find where the rock is really slippery, it'll be you. If anyone's going to find where the plank is loose on the bridge, you're first. So you'll figure it out, right? Those are the sacrifices. Are you willing to make those? Okay. Are you willing to do the things that aren't always comfy, aren't always fun, aren't always in your zone of genius because you know it's for the betterment of the team? Okay. Law of timing. When to lead is as important as what to do and where to go. I expend as much effort figuring out the timing for an initiative as I do actually figuring out the strategy. I will launch something using a less than ideal strategy because I know it's the right timing, right? Done is better than perfect. Okay, talk about that a lot. Done is better than perfect. And then I can sense whether or not people are ready for an idea. And this has a lot to do with intuition. The law of timing is really based on intuition, and you can't really develop and hone in on the idea of intuition until you get to know your team, until you have a better connection with them, until you have established that community. Because if you haven't, you have nothing, you have no energy or no guide or no standard for which to guide what you're measuring, right? To be able to tell you, is it the right time? Is it not the right time, right? Reading the room, all that good stuff. The law of explosive growth: to add growth, lead followers, to multiply and lead leaders. Okay. I believe that I can grow my organization more rapidly by developing leaders than by any other method. Okay. You know that leadership is one of the most important skills and tools you have to hone in order to be effective in almost any application. Leadership. And if becoming a leader is the most important thing, then developing leaders must be second to that. I spend a significant amount of time every week investing in the development of the top 20% of my leaders. This is where a lot of people, again, we go back to that indignance, a lot of that entitlement, where it's like, oh, you only pay attention to so-and-so. Oh, you only pay attention to people who make you money. How many uplines here have like heard those kinds of things, right? You only pay attention when blah, blah, blah. You only spend time with blah, 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 right? Leadership right here, John C. Maxwell. I don't know, like multi-millionaire, probably the world's authority on leadership. I spend a significant amount of time every week investing in developing the top 20% of my leaders. Okay? That is where your time should go. You spend time on the people who you spend the time on the people who make the time. Okay? For anyone who has ever been a part of sports, did your coach knock on your door every morning at 5 a.m. when it was time to bring you to practice to make sure you showed up? No. He coached the hell out of the people who showed the heck up on the field. But if they didn't show up, it wasn't their responsibility to go get them. Okay? And again, that's not our job, that's not your job, right? We are not body draggers. We don't work in a morgue. Okay? So you spend the most time with the people who make the most time. And again, it's not like, I don't mean make the most time as in like actual hours. I mean, the people who are showing up, the people who you're pouring out, right? People who are opening up like, yes, please pour out into me. I am here. I am an open vessel. I am receiving. Okay. You pour out into those people. And I would rather see leaders I develop succeed out on their own than keep them with me so I can monitor them. This means, do you allow them to fly? When you have developed them, do you give them options and opportunities to spread their wings and go forth and prosper? Or are you too scared they're going to make you look bad? Are you scared that they're not going to do a good job? Are you scared they're not prepared, right? Your job as a leader is to develop other leaders. The only way you can efficiently develop other leaders is to be the best leader you possibly can be, right? So many people in here are not, and again, we will learn all about what it takes to be a really good leader in the following book. Okay, they talk about those. So lastly, law 21, the law of legacy. And this is going to lead into my following points after I touch on these. The law of legacy, a leader's lasting value is measured by succession. A leader is only as good as the people they are leading, right? A team is only as good. Okay, you can tell that you have a really good team when the boss doesn't show up and everything still runs smoothly. Okay? Like, and I'm just gonna, I know all of my superstitious people, knock on all the wood, guys, ready? If I were to die tomorrow, I know this team would go, I know this team would be doing everything it needs to be doing. Why? Because I trust my leaders. My leaders are capable. My leaders are knowledgeable. Okay? There'd be a lot less autocorrects, and right, but it would still run. Okay, I'd be missed, but the team would still function appropriately. Okay, same with, and again, knock on all the wood, everybody. Same with Alicia, same with Tracy, same with all these people, right? Abs, right? You guys would miss all the abs. Everyone would have flabby bellies, but when I'm around, everyone's got all the abs. So it's the same thing, and I want you to think about that. If you're like, man, if I don't show up, it's like the chat is dead. Man, if I don't do this, it's like no one does anything. Man, hey, you're probably not developing other leaders. You're probably just like, hey guys, I'm the leader, follow me, right? And that's natural. And again, we'll talk about that next week when we start the book. But law of legacy, I possess a strong sense of why I am in my job and why I am leading. If you have to question why you are here all the time, you have to question why you're doing what you are doing. You have to question and think like, why am I even doing this anymore? Right? You need to really sit down and ask yourself that. Why? Is it just to, and I'm going to get into these 4 points, and this is going to answer some of those, is what is driving you? Because a lot of you are driven by the wrong thing. And we'll talk about that. In each position I've held, I have identified people who can carry on after me, and I have invested in them. Again, this goes back to the last one where it says you invest most of your time in the top 20% of your leaders. Okay. Why? Because you are trying to leave a lasting legacy. When you do that, you ensure that the team is in good hands, because you can also not realistically be the end all be all. There will be times you will be sick. There will be times you are on vacation. There will be times, God forbid, you want to take a night off. You want to go on a date night, right? You have to make sure the team still functions. How do you do that? You make sure that there are capable people at the helm, ready to take over, ready to help. Okay. And the last one before I let Alicia kind of chime in, before I segue into my next thing before I let you guys go, is one of the strongest motivations is to leave any team better than I found it. Okay. Alicia, you're like, no, not me. No, don't. Okay. She's like, no, not today, sis. Today, not the day. That's okay. That just means people get off earlier. So, and so are you leaving your team better than you found it? And I was talking with Alicia earlier about this. I said, a lot of times people don't talk about the other side of network marketing, right? A lot of times we want to talk about the other things that give network marketing a bad rap, right? Like, oh, only the top whatever percent, make the money. And it's just, right. We all know why people don't like network marketing. Okay. But let's talk about the other side, why people might not like network marketing. One, you can't pick who you can, but you can't really, who joined you. It's not like a job. You can't get applications and only pick the most qualified, right? When people are hired at a law firm, they pick the best lawyers out of all the applicants. Network marketers work with everybody, anybody, nobody. I was a nobody. I wasn't good at this. I wasn't qualified. Oh my God, I was anything but. But with network marketing, it can go one of two ways, but let's talk about that, right? You are turning pieces of coal into diamonds, right? You are turning moms into millionaires. You are turning people who are stuck into people who have freedom. And so that is a job. And if you're not taking that job seriously, that's probably why you may not be seeing what you want to see, or you might not be getting what you want to get out of it, because it is hard. Okay. People are going to be entitled to your time, your energy, your money, your empire, everything you've built. They are. But again, are you cultivating leaders? Because leaders don't think that way. All right. I want to get into something that I was listening to on a podcast the other day, and they brought up a book. So naturally, what do they do? I got the book. Okay. I got the book. And what did I do? I started it, even though I have about 5 more that are already open. Okay. That's beside the point. Moving on. And anyway, I pulled from it the pieces that I really wanted to talk to you guys about today before as we wrap this up and we move into the 5 levels of leadership next week, is the book Think Like a Monk. Okay. And in this book, they talk about 4 motivations. And these are 4 motivations for anything, for life, for business, for relationships, anything you as a human do. Why do you do it? Right. And this goes into what we were just talking about and covering in the last 5 laws. Yeah, everyone go buy the 1 millionth book. It's the Scholastic Book Fair every Sunday. And so, hey, learners are earners, y'all. Okay. Just want to put that out there. It is the book fair. And okay, so the 4 motivations, and I'm gonna list them out for the note takers. The 4 motivations are fear, desire, duty, and love. Alicia, I saw your face. Get out of here with that. Okay. Fear, desire, duty, and love. All right, for all you note takers out there. Now we're going to get into them. So the 4 motivations. First one, and these I want you to almost think that they kind of go up. All right, almost like a pyramid. Okay. Fear. Most people are motivated by fear. Okay. And I'm going to talk specifically about how this relates to our business here right now. Okay. You operate, the way you are motivated dictates how you operate in your business. And a lot of you are motivated by fear. We're going to talk about that. You're motivated by fear of losing rank, fear of not achieving rank, I keep having hiccups, fear of losing team members, fear of, is there a graphic or chart? Not right now. I don't have one. Fear of losing a check, fear of losing the things that your check won't get you, right? Fear. You operate out of fear. Oh my God, if I don't hit 40K this month, I'm just going to, oh my God, like we're not going to be able to do this. Oh my God. Fear. Your motivation is fear. Fear of what people will think. Oh my God, they're going to judge me. Oh my God, they're going to think that I'm not a good leader because I lost rank. Like I can't do that, right? Fear. Desire. You desire achievement. You desire recognition. You desire love and admiration. You desire money, right? So where fear is like you don't want something, desire is you do want something. You're like, I want this. I am chasing this. I am chasing I want the money. I want the big house. I want awards. I want to walk on stage. I want my uplines to shout me out every 5 seconds. Congratulations. Caitlin, you wiped your butt today. Good job. Oh my gosh. That's like, like you're like, I just want it. I want, right? Desire. You're motivated by desire. Congrats, Caitlin, for wiping your butt today. That was a really good job. You did a really good job, by the way. Duty. Looking at Alicia because I know what her face is doing. If you are motivated by duty, it's because you are motivated by doing the right thing simply because it's the right thing. You are driven to do something because it just has to be done. You are driven by loyalty. And you are driven by servitude because of a promise, because of impact, a duty to higher self, someone else, your dreams, or your morals. Okay. My my gosh, Popeye's hurry up and puke. Oh my gosh. So are you motivated by that, right? I almost want you to think of a soldier. Why does a soldier do what they do? Okay. They may not love their commander, right? They may not be fearful of dying. They may not be, right? All these things is they do it out of duty, out of loyalty to whatever, out of a duty to something, a higher self, a promise, because it has to get done, right? Duty. Last one is love. Are you motivated by love? Creating community impact, leaving a legacy for your family, for your community, for the greater good, showing up without recognition, money, or admiration simply because you're doing what's right. And so a lot of us are going to be like, I'm totally motivated by love, totally motivated by duty, right? And again, I almost want you to think this is almost like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You can't have one without the other, right? And so we all try to ascend to being motivated by love. But if you were truly motivated by love, getting the recognition wouldn't bother if you didn't. It's not why you do it. It's not why you show up. The money, you're like, even if money went away, I still love what I do. I'd still show up. I still do it, you know? Even if I lost rank, you know what, whatever. If I lose rank, we've had lots of conversations about that kind of stuff in just with people in general, with rank advancement, you know? I heard someone say, even if I can't get rank advancement, if it means that I lost it because I built authentically and I did it in a real way where I was really building true leaders, then that's okay. That's not someone who's motivated by fear. That's not somebody who's motivated by desire. That's someone who's motivated by duty and love, right? And so but if someone's like, oh my God, if I don't get this, I'm just gonna, oh my God, and they go and they just buy all the things and they do all the stuff and they're like, they're fearful, right? It's a scarcity mentality. Those people, and if you guys have it, if you guys want to go more in depth, obviously get the book. But if you don't want to go get the book, listen to it's a Jessie Lee podcast, and it was Fear Not. No, it's one of her most recent ones. Anyway, it's a really good one. Go listen to stuff. And she kind of talks a little bit about this, and she talks about it again in relation to network marketing, because the book isn't about network marketing, right? The book is just about life. Like, why do you do, yeah, Tori, it is really good. Why do you do what you do, right? But when we're talking about network marketing, why do you do what you do? Why do you show up every day? Why are you in the chats? Why are you posting? Why are you developing leaders, or are you, right? So I think like your motivation speaks so loudly and so clearly based on what you do. If you are a leader and you are not on these Zooms, you were not on the trainings, you were not in your chats, you were not developing people, you were not pouring into them, you were not doing whatever, but you're hitting rank and you're doing the thing, right? You're clearly not motivated by love, and you're clearly not motivated by duty, probably fear and desire. They talk about people who hit it and quit it with rank. People who hit it because they're fearful they won't, and then they don't like hit it again for however long, or they just don't hit it again ever, or whatever the case might be. No, it's not a workbook. It's just a regular book. And those are people who were motivated by fear. Because again, when you are fearful, you are desperate. When you are desperate, what kind of people do you attract? Do you attract people who help build you a strong foundation in, oh, they do. Krista would figure that out. Thank you, Krista. And so it's just like, is that the kind of promoter? Is that the kind of leader that you want to be? I want you to ask yourself that. Why am I showing up every single day? If you don't get a check that you want in like a week or so, and you're like, you know what, I just don't even know this is for me, check your motivation. Now, we all signed up because we were like, what, money? Ooh, okay. So that's a natural motivation. And I'm not saying that, we're not Mother Teresa. We're not just out here doing everything for free, right? But there are things, I can tell you this, that if I got a paycheck of $0 tomorrow, on Tuesday, you would still see me on Wednesday. Okay? You'd still see me on Wednesday. I'd be eating SpaghettiOs and ramen, maybe, but you'd still see me. Okay. And so I think that is what is so important when you have to assess your motivation. What is your MO? Whatever your motivation is, it drives your operation, how you operate, how and if you show up. And now that we've talked about this, we've closed out the 21 laws of leadership. I've had you look in the chat. Some of you might even be thinking, about maybe some of your leaders, or about yourself, or about the leaders you're developing. Okay? And it's intended to. It's intended to. Okay? That's not accidental. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, well, no, that's on purpose. Yeah, it's not a whoops. No, that's on purpose. It is meant for you to identify who are you following, who are you, and are you worth following, and look at the people who are following you or not. Again, our actions speak for us. Oh, I'm such a good leader, guys. Let's run. And then you're like, where are they? Okay. Just they said, like, they sign you up and then they join the witness protection program. I think some of us have had that before, right? Like, you're just like, wait. You signed up, like, why don't you host Zooms? Why aren't you on Zooms? Wait, why do you only pop in when there's a promotion? Do you ever just talk to me? Do you ever help me? Do you know what rank I'm going for? Do you know this? Do you know that? Like, do you? And I'll ask you that, do you? Right? Do you, Elaine? Do you, Catherine? Do you, Tristan? Do you, Hannah? Do you, Callie? Like, I'm just going through the things. I'm just like clicking on stuff. Like, do you? And are you that person? And then even again, thinking to your upline, do they know my kids' names? I don't know. Maybe they're motivated by fear because they only seem to show up when there's a promotion. They're only in the chat when this happens or that happens. Okay. And so again, you can not get the 5 levels of leadership. That's not absolutely required because obviously I'm going to be talking about it in depth anyway, but I definitely think it's a really good book for you to have and for you to go back and like read later. I don't know if he intended the 21 laws and the 5 levels to kind of go together, but they do because he talks about the 21 laws in there and he actually puts the 21 laws in segments within specific levels. Like, oh, if you're level 2, these are the laws that you really need to work on. Oh, if you're in this level, these are the laws that are your strengths. So I like how it segues perfectly from, where we were. But anyway, I hope that you guys really, really, really just take so much weight from everything we're talking about when it comes to leadership, because I just cannot stress leadership is what makes or breaks a team. Leadership makes or breaks communities. The weight you put on leadership will tell me everything I need to know about where your team is going to go. I can look at a team and go, because they don't have a strong leader. It's kind of like when you see kids, right? And you're like, you almost know exactly what their parents are going to be like, right? You see kids and you're like, makes sense. Like when you see their parents, you're like, oh, that makes so much sense, right? And it's just kind of like, you can do that with teams and leaders, right? You can be like, makes sense. Because you can see what kind of leader they are, or you can see what kind of leader they're not. And so, you just know what they're going to do or not going to do. And I just don't want people to do that. I don't want people to dismiss how important leadership is, because it is so vital, especially in what we do. It is such a person-centered business that your ability to succeed relies, I don't want to say solely, but like almost solely on your ability to be an effective leader, to effectively lead yourself and to effectively develop other leaders. Because without that, you're just a solopreneur recruiting other solopreneurs who are just doing their own thing, and whatever happens, happens. If that's the kind of business you want to build, that's totally fine. I don't care. But I hear the complaints I hear tell me otherwise. So the questions I get in my inbox tell me that's not what you're trying to do. The frustration I hear when you're not re-ranking tells me that's not what you wanted. So, like I said, in closing, if you are not emphasizing leadership in yourself and in your team, you do not have much of a team. You have people, but it don't mean you got a team. Just because they're all in one place, right? They're all in a chat, or they're all in a group, or they're all in something, doesn't mean you have a team. It means you have successfully recruited people. And that's another one that she gets into, recruiting versus sponsoring. Don't have time for that right now. Go listen to it. It's a good one. Okay. Leadership, 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 leadership. There you go. So anyway, I will stop abusing you. No, actually, it's not true. I will just probably always come on and semi-abuse you guys. I'm not even sorry. I was going to apologize. And then I said, don't do it. Don't do it, girl. So thank you guys so much for making time on a Sunday to get on. It really does always mean the world to me. I do take note of who's on and just really appreciate the people who make the time to develop themselves and to develop other leaders in their organization. Because again, I can look on here and go, yep, they're making an effort. Yep, they're showing up. Yep, they're going to go places. And it's clear and evident. So now you learn stuff, then you go do the things. So don't just get on here and don't just listen to me flap my gums. Don't just listen to me like yap about this book and this podcast and do the thing and leadership. Go do it. Self-develop, do the hard stuff, have the courageous conversations, do the things that make you uncomfortable, do the stuff no one else is willing to do, have the integrity, right? All of the things. If leadership was easy, everyone would do it. Okay. So if it's the hard route, if it's the difficult way, if it is something that you're like, do I have to? The answer is probably, yeah, that's why you don't wanna. Okay. So that's the answer. If you have to think about it, just do it. I love you guys. Thanks so much for getting on and just enduring me yelling at you. So always appreciated. So I love you guys so much. I'll catch you later on Mindset Monday, and then also work with me in the mornings. Don't forget to get on that too.